Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be explaining on how to score well in math. A little disclaimer, I'm not here to brag about my results, my only intention is to share my knowledge to you guys. Tip number 5 is something I discovered when looking through a Singapore Primary 3 workbook, and it really helps me understand math a lot better. All the tips that I'll be saying in this video can be applied when doing your own revision. Also, many of you have been asking me for my math notes that I released in my video titled How to Study Math, so watch till the end to find out how you can get the free PDF. First, double check your paper. Leave a 10 to 15 minutes gap before the test ends to redo the entire paper. This allows you to recheck and make sure you don't make silly mistakes. If you're a secondary student like myself, use the calculator to recheck for even the easiest question like what is the square root of 4? It can get very confusing with all the symbols that you start to learn in secondary school, so always double check so that you don't miss out on the extra marks. Next, do your corrections. Try doing the corrections yourself before checking the marking scheme. I know it can get very frustrating to see all the red markings on your exam paper, but try doing the corrections yourself so that you won't repeat the mistakes. In primary school, my math teacher would always ask us to make our own corrections first because we just make so many careless mistakes. A bonus, when doing corrections, try writing down the explanations on why you got the question wrong. So when doing revisions, you can reread the mistakes that you got and understand exactly why you got wrong. If you have the time, rewrite all your corrections on a separate notebook, so before your exam, you can look through all the mistakes you got and not do the same thing again. Don't get demotivated when you get a question wrong because it's all part of the process. Next, underline or circle. Underline or circle important things to keep in mind when answering a question. This tip is especially important when answering problem-solving questions because there are just so much information in a question that we forget the most important thing to include in the final answer. Here's an example.
The question says, John has 5 cm of string and May gives him another 3 meter string. What is the length of string that John has now in centimeters?
For this question, you are going to underline all the units stated in the storyline and circle the unit for the final answer. As promised, this is how you can get the free PDF of my notes. Just fill up the Google form, like and subscribe to my channel. Well, back to the video. Next, this is a tip that I found in a Primary 3 Singapore workbook that I found to be very helpful, and that is draw. When I say draw, I don't mean draw cartoons or 5,000 hearts if that's what your question is asking you. What I mean is, roughly draw out what your question wants to get a basic understanding of the question. Here's an example of a question.
John has 2 apples and May has 3 apples more than John. How many apples does May have?
So what you want to do is draw out 2 boxes to show that John has 2 apples.
And May says she has 3 more than John.
So you redraw the 2 boxes and draw another 3 for May. With this, you can clearly see that May has 3 apples more than John. This question is kind of simple, but it's just an example I wanted to give. By visualizing the question, it helps you understand the question a lot quicker and make sure that you don't misunderstand what the question means. So we've come to the end of my video. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to check out my description box below to find out how you can get the free PDF of my notes. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye. I actually did this a month before my mid-exams for my chapter 3, and surprisingly, my basics of this chapter is improving day by day.